This is Built for Love, where we explore self-awareness, growth, and real transformation. Because love isn't something we chase, it's something we're built for. Hey there, you beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Energy Forecast. I'm your host, Javier Ortega. Whether you're returning or joining us for the first time, we're super happy to have you here. Each month, your favorite astrology and tarot trio taps into the energetic themes shaping how we move through life, helping you navigate the month with more awareness, clarity, and intention. I'm joined by astrologer Regina Mirando and tarot reader Eddie Valdovinos as we guide you through every sign and the energy surrounding the month ahead. This month, Gemini and Cancer take the center stage, so let's get into it. Regina, our Gemini queen herself, give us our 2-minute astrology forecast for your people, the Geminis.
Well, I would say the early Geminis are probably feeling some intensity because Uranus is 1 degree Gemini. So all those May Geminis, like the early, like May 20th, May 21st, those in that basic first 5 days are feeling it the most because Uranus is really making them reevaluate what they need to do to feel liberated and strong and say what they want. And Geminis are going to have maybe a bit of a sharp tongue, so it's and they're probably going to be a little manic, but you're just going to have to deal with it. But if you don't want to know, don't ask, because they are going to be telling you the truth. They're going to be a little brutal. So I would just say that's the theme for Gemini this month. It's a lot. Plus Pluto in Aquarius trining Geminis. Again, same thing. It's 5 degrees Aquarius, so that forms a trine. So again, early Geminis, the May Geminis are feeling that as well. It's really asking you, what do you want? How are you going to get this? And with Uranus, it's like, and what are you going to do about it? It's just like a crash of the Titans. It's going to be okay, but it's like, it could be pretty intense.
Alrighty, so Eddie, give us our tarot forecast for Geminis for the month of June.
So for the month of June for Geminis, we have the Ace of Pentacles and we have the Nine of Cups. For this upcoming season with the Ace of Pentacles, you definitely have some opportunities coming your way. I think they're going to be in the sense of your resources, whether it's your job, it's your finances, it's your time, maybe even your health. But there's going to be sort of tangible opportunities coming up, so be very diligent in them. With the Nine of Cups, what I'm getting is sort of like the shadow side of this card. So normally this card represents, having all your trophies and sitting there and sort of basking in all this sort of emotional abundance that you have collected. However, the shadow side of this card can oftentimes represent, not becoming too smug. Okay, so when it comes to all of those things in your life that you feel like you have worked your way up to and that you have accumulated, don't start settling into this sense of, well, this is what I have, and this is what I deserve. Okay, and this is all that I meant to have. Like, no. Okay, get off the high horse a little bit. Don't become so complacent in that smugness that can sort of come with all the inner work you've done. Okay, there's still a little bit more to do.
There you go, Geminis. Let's move on to Cancers, another main character of the month of June. My people, Regina, give us an astrology download for us Cancers.
Well, actually, Cancers are going to be feeling a lot because there's going to be 3 planets in Cancer in June. So June 1st, Mercury goes into Cancer, and then we already have Venus and Jupiter in Cancer. And on the 16th, the moon will be in Cancer, and then it'll be conjunct Venus and Jupiter in Cancer on the 17th. Venus and Jupiter will come together June 9th. So it's going to be a very feel-good energy for Cancer, but then Mercury goes into retrograde at the end of the month on June 29th, and it will be in Cancer. And it's going to be in retrograde until July 23rd. So that whole time is going to be in Cancer. So it's going to be about reflecting and going internally. And, Cancers already do that. So it's going to really be like, okay, well, let's think about what are your needs, and take a pause to make sure, you're going to get what you're needing, and you're going to actually really think about it. it's again time for introspection. And with Cancer, it's going to be about your home, your boundaries, your safe place, your comfort, and however that works out for each individual. But that's going to be the basic feeling. And Cancers, I think it's going to be honestly a big month for Cancers, in a good way. Like I said, Jupiter and Venus are like, that's such a fun, it's your planet of good fortune and your love planet, and they're in Cancer, so it's just like, oh, let's be cozy, let's spoil each other, like it's about like spoiling yourself. But it's going to be a great month for Cancers.
I receive it. All right, Eddie, come on, give it to me, give it to me, give it to us, crabs.
I don't know if you Cancers are ready. Okay, I'm gonna have you guys crying in the front row. Just kidding.
I'm ready. I have
Pentacles.
my tissues.
We have the Eight of Pentacles and we have the Ten of Swords, right? Like Regina said, don't get too indulgent with the Eight of Pentacles. It represents continuing to put in that hard work that you've been working in, that you've been doing, that sort of laboring, that labor intensive kind of side that you've been focusing on. Keep putting it in. Okay, so keep clocking in, keep sweating a little bit. Okay, I think this month is going to be, but it's going to be joyful. Okay, it's not going to be like this labor where you're going to be sort of just kind of hating everything around you and miserable. No. Find the thing that you really are passionate about and continue to put your time and your love and your dedication and your intention into this month. With the Ten of Swords, I think it's leaning and letting you know that there could be the end of something that's coming up. Something's gonna there'll be the closing of something for you this month, but it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing, because after that comes a new day, right? After that comes something new. So it might be the end of a certain belief system that you had. It might be the end of a certain ideal that you had. You might be letting go of a notion that you thought you were really centered on. You're going to realize that's maybe not serving you this month. And this month is going to make it very clear for you to know which thing to shake hands with and say goodbye. See, you're all crying now, I'm sure.
I know, I'm like, that sounds pretty intense.
I think between the two of us, it's basically about self-care.
Let's do it.
I agree. Yeah, I think for both of those, it was very much internal, very interpersonal. It's very much to do with you and not so much about what's happening around you. Yeah.
Right.
All right, Regina, we'll be checking in with each other as the Gemini and Cancer.
Of course.
Making sure we're aligned with our self-care. All right, so now we're going into our lightning round. This is where we go over the next 10 zodiac signs, doing a 1-minute forecast of astrology and a 1-minute tarot forecast. All right, Regina, hit us with the next sign, which is Leo.
Okay, well, at the end of the month, June 30th, Jupiter goes into Leo. So our early Leos, our July Leos, are going to be feeling that, and they're going to be feeling, like a little jump start. But again, remember, we have Saturn and Neptune in Aries, which is going to form a trine to them. So it's going to be about making the fire signs not feel as impulsive. And on June 18th, the moon will be in Leo. So, and it'll all be feeling confident, and, your self-worth will be very visible. They're going to get the oomph more in the middle to late of the month. So they're going to feel good, and they're going to feel like, like motivated. I think the mid-month for sure.
What about the tarot forecast, Eddie, for our Leos in June?
Intense month coming up. Okay, you have the Devil and you have the Eight of Swords. Okay, listen,
Wow.
right. Listen, don't let this scare you. Okay, I think for this month, what you're going to experience is there will be a moment. There will be a moment of realization where you are able to look at things that you might be compromising for. Okay, there's going to be a moment maybe this month where you're saying, this is something that isn't maybe the healthiest for me. This is maybe a dependency on something that I have been getting a little bit too comfortable with it. And you'll be able to sort of take that blindfold that you might have self-imposed for some time, and you'll be able to liberate yourself. Again, mentally, this is all very interpersonal. Mentally, you'll be able to liberate yourself from some of those ties and some of those chains that you might have gotten a little dependent on. So be very mindful of those things. Okay, I think tying that into with what Regina said, that's going to lead to such beauty and such joy, right? But there's going to be a little bit of hard work you're going to have to do up here mentally, some self-evaluation this month.
All right, so Regina, we have our Virgos waiting next. Give it to us.
Well, Virgos, remember, they're also ruled by Mercury. So having it be a very mercurial time because we are in Gemini, Virgos, it's like, but they do technically square Geminis because they're both mutable. And I know that sounds like astrology jargon, but the 21st, the moon is in Virgo and you're going to be feeling motivated and more determined. Mercury in Cancer is making Virgos feel more of to reflect internally and actually get out of your head with your emotions and feel them. Again, Mercury's our communication, and Virgos like to think and analyze, but Cancer makes you feel. So kind of bring it down from here to here. And then once the end of the month, Mercury goes retrograde, that's going to affect Virgo too, because it's going to, again, make you really sit and feel it and stop analyzing it all the time. You can't analyze your emotions to death. I mean, you can, but it's just not, don't do it. This is kind of the time to not let yourself get trapped into that cycle.
So I'm a Pisces double Virgo. And it's funny you say that because today, with the cards that we pulled for Virgos, we have Justice and we have the Six of Swords. Absolutely love these two. But like you said, Regina, I think I'm already getting a sense of that because me as a Virgo, what I'm getting with this spread is to, how do I say it? To, like you said, not overthink things and take things at almost like face value, right? Don't dive too deep into the things that you almost don't understand. I think as Virgos, we sometimes have a way of trying to compartmentalize that which we don't understand because we want everything to be in its place. But sometimes what you're getting this month is, especially with Justice here, is what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Okay, it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. Leave it alone.
Yeah.
Stop overthinking it. Stop. Get out of here, like you said.
Out of here, just feel
and
it.
just move it down a little bit. Right, for sure. That's coming in heavy with the Justice card and with the Six of Swords. It is almost like an invite. Like it's telling you for this month, if you want, you can go from those shaky, sort of like unsteady waters into something a bit more peaceful and something a bit more restorative. But it's fully up to you. Like the universe isn't going to bring it to you this month. You have to reach out and grab it from the universe. Okay.
All right, so let's move on to our next sign, which is Libras.
Well, okay, so Geminis and Libras, remember, they're BFFs. They're both air signs. So the new moon in Gemini on the June 14th is going to feel really good for Libras. They're going to feel confident and like more open in their train of thought. Uranus also, the September Libras, Uranus at 1 degree Gemini is trining those Sun in Libras. So, but again, a trine is a happy aspect. So it's just making them feel confident, and like Libras want to make everybody happy. They want harmony and peace is what makes them happy. But Uranus is going to give them a little oomph. You know what I mean? Like to be like, maybe you should just say the truth. Remember, fair is fair, right? That's how Libras feel. So they might actually, kind of what I was saying about Geminis, like feeling, if you don't ask if you don't want to know, I feel like Libras are going to get a little spark of that too.
For sure. With the tarot pool for Libras, talk about putting yourself first, right? And just sort of like putting your best foot forward. We have the Chariot and we also have the Two of Pentacles. For this month, Libra, what you can really expect is honing in on the sense of direction, right? You have an idea of where you want to go and you have this sense of a trajectory, whether that is, with your intentions, whether that is with your finances, whether that is with your relationships, right? You have this clear vision this month. Go forth and just take that path and go and grab the bull by the horns, okay? And just definitely embark in that. With the Two of Pentacles, it's not an imbalance necessarily that's happening because I think this month you'll be on pretty solid ground. I think it's going to be more of a prioritization that you're going to have to go through this month.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
yeah. So that's definitely coming in pretty heavy.
All right, let's move on over to our Scorpios, Regina.
Well, Scorpio, again, it's a water sign. So the Venus, Jupiter, and Mercury in Cancer is good for Scorpio. They're not afraid of their emotions. Scorpios, what makes them different as far as, even though they're a water sign and they're very, very sensitive and emotional, is they don't know how to express it as easily as like Pisces and Cancers do. It doesn't flow because what is fixed? Water, ice, right? So So that's how Scorpios are, and that's a perfect example of how they are with their emotions. So they're going to have to kind of review that, and like, how do I share more? How do I get comfortable with sharing my resources and sharing myself? It's, they're going to like melt that ice a little bit. It's not hard. It's not scary. But Scorpios just are so, they're so intense that I think their emotions run so deep that it's scary for them too, because vulnerability is really hard. But Cancer is all about being vulnerable and mushy. So, and
I
it's
I
love the
love
needed.
that.
way I love the way that you referenced Scorpios being a fixed sign and being like still water, which is ice. I've never thought of it that way, and I think that's such a great way to look at it.
Definitely. And you know what's going to cut through that ice this month? We have the King of Swords, okay, and we have the Three of Wands, right? So for Scorpios this month, I think that's kind of perfect. I think a great way to sort of break through that and to show what your intention is and what you're feeling is the cards are saying that this month you're going to have to uh or rather, don't be afraid to embrace. This is gonna sound funny, but like your speech and your tongue and your ideas, right? And communicate with so much integrity and so much conviction what you're feeling, right? So don't feel bad for what you're feeling. Uh, Express it. If you're not hurting anybody else, and if you're not hurting yourself, don't be afraid to express that and to be very intentional with your word this month, Scorpio. And with the Three of Wands, there is a little bit of maybe sort of like planning that you have going around. There's some kind of expansion that you have going around. Maybe it might be the passion project. It might be in an actual relationship. You might be wanting to take the next step in that relationship, and you might be afraid of admitting or expressing how you want to take a next step in that relationship. Something to do in that vein. But for this month, for sure, there's going to be a lot of that. There's going to be some expansion in your plans that it's happening. But most importantly, be very direct and very straightforward with your word.
Up next is our Sagittarians.
Okay, so remember, Sagittarius is the polar opposite of Gemini. And again, Uranus in Gemini, like 1 degree. Sagittarian, the November Sagittarians are feeling it. They're like probably going to feel, I mean, they're the wild ones of the zodiac, they're the partiers. So they might be more, I think that they're going to feel even more impulsive, and they might suffer a little more than normal the foot in the mouth syndrome. So I think Jupiter in Leo on the end of June will be new energy to them, and it'll be like, oh, okay, now I can have fun again, because Cancer and Sagittarians, they're not the best of friends. Cancer is all about feelings, and Sagittarians just want to have fun, and they're not really, they're looking for a good time. They want to joke around, and they think Cancers are too sensitive. Like, oh, get over it, come on, it's just a joke. And it's like, oh my god. So I think Sagittarians are going to be feeling like a need for kind of thinking about sort of how they express themselves, and maybe be a little more aware, but they're not, but they're still going to be impulsive, because that Uranus is just going liberate.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
So
I love that with Sagittarians, and it's interesting you say that, Regina, because we have the Page of Pentacles, then we have the King of Pentacles, right? So a big sense of follow through this month for you guys. There's a big sense of development. There's a big sense of seeing things through from its inception all the way to what it should and can be. Okay, it's finding strength throughout the journey of whatever that looks like for you. It's in the Pentacles family, so it's something to do more with, again, with the tangible side of your lives, right? So whether it's with your again, with relationships or career, or maybe even some kind of personal journey that you've been on, this month you're really going to be allowed and invited to see that through. So that's going to be a big theme for you this month, Sagittarius, is to follow things through, and the things that you've set forward to do, you better be diligent with them and fulfill them to completion this month. So
All right, let's move on over to our Capricorns.
well, Capricorns, they're the practical sign of the zodiac, and they're having the full moon is in Capricorn on the 29th. So at the very end of the month, it'll be a full moon in Capricorn. So, it's going to be again, because we have 3 planets in Cancer, and Capricorn is the polar opposite of Cancer. Capricorns are, believe it or not, sensitive, but this is the thing: the more sensitive they feel, the colder they're going to come across. So 3 planets in Cancer, again, warm and fuzzy. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, how do I balance my ambitions with my emotional security? And then Mercury going in retrograde in the opposing sign of Cancer is going to make them feel more introspective about how to communicate their feelings. But Capricorns are tricky they're actually very nurturing. Both those 2 planets, Cancer signs, Cancer and Capricorn are very nurturing, but they show it very differently. Capricorn is going to make sure that their form of nurturing is like, okay, well, I made a budget for you, and I'm going to go ahead and I outlined the dates that your that your bills are due, and I'm pretty much setting it all up in auto pay. That's their way of nurturing you. While
Right.
Cancers are about, oh, I did your laundry and I made your bed, and oh my gosh, I'm going to make you dinner later. What's your favorite soup?
Yeah.
So both want to take care of people, but in a very, very different yet important way. So Capricorns are going to be feeling that sense of like, oh, should I be making dinner? It's going to be kind of a weird feeling for them this month.
Definitely. So it's so funny how we're so in sync here, because Capricorns, for sure, what Regina said, we have the 7 of Swords and we have the Sun, right? So completely carrying on with that energy of maybe not knowing how to express your feelings and not knowing how to express your ideas and your words of what you're going through this month, right? Or rather, to sort of being at odds with them, right? One big thing that is coming through here is, it's again, it's more introspective for sure, but look at, it might seem a little hard, but look at the things that you might be being untruthful with yourself about. Look at some of the things that you maybe aren't being honest with yourself about, and let that be a little bit of a guiding compass for you this month. I think that's going to really help to carry you over to what I think could potentially be a really great month for you, okay, that has so much just abundance pouring into it, and so much unlocking. I'm seeing so much sort of like things that you maybe didn't realize before, and you having this bit of like this slight revelation, this slight unblockage that starts to happen this month. So it's really exciting for you, but you kind of have to cut through some of those old ideas and some of that, maybe sometimes it's not about who won the fight. It's just a matter of saying, you know what, I put that down and I didn't want to engage in that anymore. So it's not about who won the fight or who won the battle. Okay. It's about you being honest and truthful to yourself. So
Alrighty, let's move on to I would consider a less practical sign, Aquarius.
Well, again, Pluto is going to be in Aquarius for a very long time, and Pluto is right now at 5 degrees Aquarius. So again, late January Aquarians are feeling that right now. They're feeling this desire to go deeper with what they're looking for themselves. Sun represents our ego, and Pluto is about death and rebirth. So they're kind of trying to figure out how to reinvent themselves, and then globally, Pluto is going to probably be creating more humanity in general. It's going to be slow, but it's happening. And then again, on the 29th, with the Mercury going in retrograde, that's going to be about them feeling how are they going to communicate their emotions, but don't be rash about it. Aquarians are the most logical. They're very emotionally detached. They're the one sign that has the ability to be objective. How like Cancers are very subjective, right? So everything is like they're feeling it and it's surrounding them, while Aquarians have the ability to have a problem or something, and they can like step out of it and like look at it, and that's great. But I don't know. I think with Pluto being in Aquarius, that's going to be a little harder for them. I do think they're going to probably start feeling more creative right now. I think this is a good time for them to really there's some kind of creative spark that they're feeling. Because again, Gemini and Aquarius are air signs. So that gives that, it's like spark. Or when you touch laundry and something and you get
a little static.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like that's going to be their energy right now.
Yeah.
Sparks.
I super love that, actually. For their reading, for their pull, they have the Page of Swords and they have the 3 of Cups. The Page of Swords is very indicative of that. I'm getting like baby steps. Okay, that baby spark. It's okay. Just it's those small it's those small sort of like ignitions that kind of get things going, so definitely keep that energy for this month, keep that in mind this month. And like you said, some of them getting creative with the three of cups. I would even also say that you are going to be getting you'll be surrounded by a lot of loved ones. So don't be afraid to lean into that support group that you have. And not just like in a collaborative, like work kind of way, not like Three of Pentacles kind of way, Three of Cups kind of way, which is more of that joyful, emotional fulfillment, which could come from something creative. You know what I mean? It can come from relying on that on some of your loved one. It's that expansion of just a 2-person thing, and it goes into a 3-person thing. So it's that emotional growth and emotional happiness that begins to flourish, and about, again, that ignition, that spark that's happening for you this month. So.
All right, Regina, you mentioned how us cancers can be subjective. Well, this is me being subjective. I believe, just like you said, Aquarius, lean into your loved ones. I believe there is no better dynamic duo than a Pisces and a Cancer. So this is me ringing my bestie. Ring, 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 ring. Let's hit up our Pisces, Regina.
Hello.
Give it to us.
Well, Pisces are going to have a good month because, again, Pisces and Cancers, feels all good. And even though the sun is in Gemini in June, the 3 planets in Cancer, there's Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter. Those are the big close planets. And those are, so Pisces are loving it. They get to be in their feelings, and they're not weirdos for being so sensitive. They get to talk about their feelings, and, they're more ahead. They're getting more clarity. It's boosting their clarity right now, or in June. And I think the Mercury retrograde for them won't be as hard because, again, it's in Cancer. So Pisces already live in that emotional space. So them going inward during a Mercury retrograde in Cancer is not going to be so scary. I would think it's more scary for other planets, like maybe Aquarius, for instance. But Pisces are like, oh, you get to indulge in your feelings and being
Right.
cozy. What I envision is like Pisces and Cancer having a movie night, getting their favorite takeout and having a movie night and just loving every second of it. That's the vibe I feel, because Pisces they're very comfortable with that Cancers. They're just
Absolutely.
like peas and carrots.
The only thing I disagree with on that is that Hav doesn't like takeaway. He doesn't like to order out, but I do. So we're gonna have to butt heads on that. But
I don't mind it. No, I don't mind it. It's just I don't always like to decide, right? I'm just the type of person that could eat anything and everything. But listen, no excuses. My beautiful, 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 beautiful Pisces bestie. Movie nights every night for the month of
That's
June.
right.
Let's do it. I live for you. I love you.
That's
We can
right.
take it all out.
Is
We
it
can eat all the
rom-com?
food. Let's.
When we lived together, when we used to live together, he would sit me down and make me watch Bridgerton with him. And at first, I was rolling my eyes, but at the end of
that
it,
is
we're
so
both.
perfect.
But at the end of it, we're like cuddled up in the couch, and we're just like, oh my gosh.
I'm all, this is my life. I burn for.
should've seen
I'm all,
us.
I burn for someone too.
Yeah, you should have seen us. It was ridiculous, but it was amazing and it was beautiful, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. For this month, so all Pisceans, we have Temperance and the Hangman. When you were mentioning that the retrograde is going to be in Cancer, as a Pisces, and as for all Pisces, I dare to say, I agree with you, Regina. I think that it's going to be more of, especially with the Hangman here, it's going to be more of like a nice sort of like a standstill for us, and not in the way that typically clashes, or we can feel like there's a bit of a clash or a disconnect with other retrogrades. And so I think this month, as Pisces, we're definitely going to experience a little bit of like a standstill. But it's going to be good. Okay, it's going to be a bit of a perspective shift. It's going to be sort of almost like a mental kind of like detox in a way. We're going to be able to kind of just detach a little bit in a healthy way, right? And enjoy that kind of standstill that this month is going to have to bring for us, which I'm really excited about. And then with Temperance here, it's again, don't be afraid to go inward. Don't be afraid to find that really beautiful balance and that rejuvenation and that faith and that hope that comes so easily to us Pisces, and almost to a degree, it's kind of what we live in a lot of the time.
Absolutely.
This month, there's going to be a really beautiful manifestation of that in our surroundings. So, really excited for that.
Let's hit up the opposite side, the opposite element of water, which is our fire. Let's hit up our Aries, Regina.
Okay, so on June 10th, the moon will be in Aries. Aries, again, Saturn and Neptune are in Aries right now for the long haul. And, Neptune is making Aries really think about their dreams. And so it's making them like not as abrasive. But Saturn, also in Aries, is making them not be as impulsive. They're needing to have more intention. They're just not, their fire isn't as intense. Remember, April was crazy for Aries, because there was like 7 planets in Aries, and now that's finally been, we're far enough away from that's they're not, we're not in that crazy intensity anymore. They are still needing to, it's putting out their fire a little bit, and they don't like it, but at the same time it's necessary, because you can't always be impulsive. You have to actually follow through, And so Saturn in Aries is making those early Aries, like the late March Aries, really think about it, Like, how are you going to do this? You can't just do it, It's not going to work anymore, And then Neptune's like, follow your dreams, Remember that Neptune is the happy Tia, taking you out,
We love
um,
the happy
but
Thea. We
Saturn,
love the happy
we love
Thea.
her. Right. And she's wanting to have a good time, and get like, let's just have fun. But Saturn's right there being like, well, I don't know. You got to make sure you come home by curfew.
I fully agree that Saturn energy is definitely coming through this month for you guys. We have Judgment and we have the Wheel of Fortune, right? So it's very cyclical things that will be happening this month, right? And one aspect, you have the Wheel of Fortune, which is very what goes up is going to come down. It's okay. You know what I mean? When something really, when you're feeling kind of like stuck in the mud, don't get comfortable in that, because things always going to, there's always going to be a new tomorrow. When things are at an all-time high, don't get too comfortable there either, because everything has to come back down. So it's about finding that balance this month, and finding the beauty in that cyclical sort of, I guess, poeticism that this month has to offer and that life has to offer. With Judgment, you have this sort of like accountability, sort of like calling that you're going to have to answer this month. So it won't be an indulgent month for you where you're going to go off the deep end. It's going to be a month where you're really going to have to face some of those things that you maybe have been neglecting previously, and it's going to be a big month of accountability for you. So I can see where some of that dampening is coming in, because it's going to be a lot of that busy work that it sucks to kind of do, but it has to be done this month. Yeah.
Exactly. That's
Take
very
accountability
Saturnian.
and definitely center yourself. Speaking of like being more centered and grounded, last but not least, Tauruses.
Okay, well, the moon is in Taurus on the 12th. So Chiron is the wounded healer, and Chiron has been in Aries for quite some time. And Chiron will be going into Taurus on June 19th. So it's moving from that fire energy of like, to the Taurus energy. So it's more like your security, right? It's like, so Taurians are going to be for the next few years feeling like, what's their core wound, and what do Taurians worry about? It's security, finances, grounding. So that's going to be going on. And then Mars is in Taurus until again the 29th. So Taurians are going to have a good month in that way. And 3 planets in Cancer, Taurus and Cancers are also very compatible. They're sextiling each other. So they're very like water, earth, right? Water and earth complement one another. So they're going to have cozy and comforting emotionally. When Jupiter and Venus are conjunct in Cancer on the 9th, they're going to have a great day. That's going to be a good day for them. So they're going to have a good month, but like I said, the end of the month, those April Tauruses, like I said with the Chiron's going to be on their sun sign at the late mid month, so they might be feeling a little uncomfortable. But in the end, it's the wounded healer. You might see your wound, but it's there for you to get healed by it. Like my Chiron's in Aries, right, and it's conjunct my Venus natally. So my goodness, it's like my wound is how, like, in relationships, but it's also going to be the best place for me to heal. And then I can help others heal by healing my wound. And there's Chiron's tricky though, because if you're a younger soul, you're more in your wound and just projecting it everywhere. And then, as you progressively either get old in your ego or you just in your soul, you learn how to, like, what is the lesson behind it, and then you teach and help heal others. So Tauruses are going to be feeling that for a while, but
Yeah.
in general, all the fun stuff, Tauruses are going to be feeling, again, nice and cozy. They'll probably be
Yeah.
cozying up with Cancers too. So
I love it. Absolutely. You have the two of Pentacles, and you have the Page of Pentacles, right? So there's that same sense of finding and establishing what your priorities are. Again, in a very in a building way. You know what I mean? It's not going to be necessarily taxing. It's not going to be something that's going to be draining to you per se. It's something that if anything, you're going to find pleasure in doing so, right? Of really establishing what the priority is in your life and the things that are really going to to fill your cup, if you will. And then with the Page of Pentacles, I'm getting that sort of childlike happiness, that childlike kind of like spirit to like you said, the first half of the month. And I just took the liberty of pulling a card for the end of the month. And so here we have the Eight of Cups again, and that definitely checks out with sort of the end of the month, right? You have that sense of, what isn't fulfilling me here. This is more of that trickier kind of like shadow side of the month, which is like, listen, this isn't working for me. I have to leave this. I have to just get up, pack my bags in the middle of the night and leave. Figuratively and literally for some of you, maybe, I'm sure, you know what I mean? But you have that kind of energy, is seeking and looking and just doing that inner sort of like shadow work towards the end of the month.
But remember, Tauruses don't like change. So that's
Right.
the hard part. Is like they're not going to be able to get up in the middle of the night and go.
Right.
That's going to be really hard. So I think that's going to be part of that Chiron going into Taurus.
Mm-hmm.
Is really learning how to be like, you know what? Change happens whether we like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're going to have to handle it. You're going to have some change.
Yeah.
And it's not a horrible thing.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's going to be part of that lesson for them too in the long term. So that makes sense.
So there you have it, folks. You have your energy forecast for the month of June. Don't forget to follow, hit subscribe, leave a comment, and give the podcast a 5-star rating because it truly helps us grow and continue creating these conversations for you all.
As always, if this resonates, please take it and may it serve you as guidance for the next month.
May the stars be your guide.
And remember, love isn't something we chase.
It's something we're built for.